Hi, this is Dr. Gail coming to you in the Handle Your Business Girl Empowerment Zone. I'm so glad that you decided to join me here. Listen, one of the main reasons I created this group a long time ago and I never really worked it was because I was going through some things personally. When you grow up or you have things happen to you that are negative, really negative, see, sometimes people can't see the inside trauma. They only see the outside. And if you've taken care of your outside, they just assume that you're whole. In other words, you don't have any issues, you're doing good, you look just fine. Well, I can tell you this, you can put on your lipstick, you can put on your lashes, you can do your hair, your jewelry, and you can still be a hot mess on the inside because of the trauma, because of the messages that have been sent to you that have been played over and over and over again. In other words, internally, you can be a mess. Externally, you might look fabulous. People don't know because you become an expert at wearing a mask. And people don't know when you've fallen. They can't see your scarred knees because you make sure you wear your dresses long enough to cover them, or you wear your pants to cover your knees. They can't see your elbows that are bumped into things and bleeding. You put on your pads, put on your long sleeve shirts, even when it's summertime, and you cover the wounds. Because as surely as you are alive, as surely as you're here, if you have internal wounds, it's going to manifest externally somehow. Sometimes people are just oblivious. They think that you're okay, everything looks good, but honey, sometimes I'm going to tell you, it's not always that good. Especially when your pain comes from people who are close to you and they're people who are ideally supposed to love you. So what happens with us is that we try to mask that. And I had a conversation recently. As a matter of fact, I had several conversations recently about this same thing. And it's something that people have a hard time talking about. But I'm just going to talk a little bit about it today because I am so excited because I want to help women tell their stories. You see, your story is your story. Nobody else owns that story. That is your story. And what I want to talk about very briefly, and I did not come to offend but to inform. I want to let you know that there are so many people who live with this silent shame and they can't talk about it because so many people shut them up with judgment. And that is mother pain. Now you're probably saying, what are you talking about? I'm not here to bash my mother or to bash your mother, but I remember that I was in such pain because I could not get my mother to give me words of adoration or even to tell me she was proud of me when I would accomplish things. And I became accomplishment addicted because I was telling, the more I do, I said, maybe she'll say something. And I'm talking about it. I was a mature woman, 30s, 40s, 50s. And I mean, I wanted my mother to be proud of me or to at least say it. And I'm going to share something with you that is very transparent. I remember when I wrote my book. I wrote a book. Where is it? I don't even know if I have it out here. Let me see. Hold on. Oh, I do. Hold on. Here it is. I'm just being real on these things. I wrote this book, The Power of a Woman Who Leads. And I wrote this book in 2013. Oh my God. And it really took a lot out of me to write that book because I did not want people to see me as a leader because I'm the firstborn in my family. And that has not always been met with jubilation. I got attacked for being the firstborn, okay? I mean, literally, and I won't go into the details, but needless to say, I didn't like being the firstborn because if something happened, I always got the blame for it when it came to my siblings, even after we got older. Well, Gail did that. I'm thinking, what? I finally had to stop and say, hold up, I didn't raise anybody with that last name. I am one of the children. Hey, everybody, I'm one of the children. And I remember when I wrote this book, somebody identified me as a leader, and I said, oh, okay. I wrote the book, and I struggled a bit with it. And then God said, you can write this book in your sleep. I wrote this book, and this was a milestone for me because I wrote this book, and I dedicated it to my mother. When the book came out, and I'm not saying this to violence, I want to let y'all know that I have had to overcome some stuff, and you can too. You see, it is by our stories that we are liberated. When we can stand on our own mountaintop and sing our own song in our own key, and then the universe hears it And you say, I'm releasing this to you because I don't want it no more. So anyway, so I wrote that book and I dedicated it to my mother. And I waited. The book came out in March, and I waited April, nothing. May, nothing. June, I purposely didn't call her. Purposely did not reach out to her for 3 months, and I knew she had it. And when I called her, I'll never forget, I said, Mom, did you get the book? I got it. I was like, okay, why didn't you let me know? I've been busy. And I thought, okay, I mean, I was so let down, but that wasn't the first time that kind of thing had happened to me. And the word I got, people talk, we got a bunch of siblings, was Gail didn't write those books. Anybody can copy something down and write it in a book. That's what the word was. It got back to me. Now, what do you do with that when you hear that's what your mother said? Now, some of you, remember, I'm not here to offend, but to inform. This kind of thing happens. You might have had a loving, nurturing, wonderful mother who filled your life with adoration. You can't judge those of us who did not have that. You can't say, well, you ought to be ashamed. No shame. I'm like, if you're a Christian, Jesus nailed shame to the cross. Anyway, what I'm saying to you is it's a reality, and what it did, those kinds of things, and there was so many, I'm numerous, but that was my defining moment where I knew finally I needed to stop what I was doing and stop trying to present stuff and put it at a place where I would be adored or somebody would celebrate me. I said, you know what? This is it. I'm done. So that book is a defining moment for me, writing a book on leadership, international leadership, and hoping that I would hear those words, which I did not hear. And that's okay, because I am fine. And it was a point where I began to heal. And it was, what, it reminds me of something. It's like falling. When we think that we fail, we fall. When we fail, and I want to end this whole thing, so we want to talk about that. It's okay if you have mother pain. The only way to get rid of that pain is to talk about it and learn how to change your languaging, because you got to clean yourself out. I love my mother and I honor my mother, but I know there's certain things that I no longer expect from my mother. And so what I have done, I decided that thing had to end with that generation. And so my daughter, gets the best. I am her biggest cheerleader. When she accomplishes something, I tell her about it and tell her how much proud I am of her. I hold her face, even in her 20s, and kiss her and tell her I'm proud of her. I give her what I wanted and she deserves from her mother. And that's why she's going to leave the United States of America and go study fashion at one of the top fashion schools in the world. Because I decided a long time ago that I was going to be her biggest cheerleader. And that's what I am. Because that had to stop with that generation. I had to choose not to carry that with me. I had to choose not to give that to my daughter. I didn't want her searching for the rest of her life, hoping that her mother would say, I really like you. You're wonderful. That stopped with that generation. When you, like Maya Angelou used to say, when you know better, you do better. And so now I know better. So guess what? She gets the best of me being a cheerleader. And because of that, she honors me. Well, I won't have it any other way. So I want to say, this whole thing is like falling. I want you to know that falling is not always a bad thing. And I want to read this little piece I wrote on falling a while back, so you know just how magnificent falling actually is. I wrote this in 2013, right after I talked to my mother. And this is what it says: falling is beautiful. When rising, your leg and back muscles flex. Your ankles and feet lock into place, and they bear your body weight. Your mind directs your eyes to look up, and your neck and shoulders order your arms and hands to assist. Your inner core orchestrates a majestic, poetic ballet of muscular power that can only be described as magnificent. So when you fall, remember the beauty of being able to rise again. You can do it. Falling is beautiful. So get up and watch the majestic manifest. This is Dr. Gail Hayes, coming to you from the Handle Your Business Girl Empowerment Zone, where we help you to handle your business where you do business. Until next time.